Welcome to Unmuted with Marsha. The big topic is inflation, inflation, inflation. We hear about it at every meeting we do in Tennessee, and we have a great guest with us today, Stephen Moore, who is a familiar face and name to many of you that are reading our economic periodicals or you're watching some of our business channels. You hear a lot from Stephen. He is an author. He was an economic advisor to President Trump and helped draft the Tax Cut and Job Act that really brought us unprecedented prosperity. He also is the Distinguished Economic Fellow at the Heritage Foundation. So, Stephen, I am just so delighted to have you with me. And I have to ask you, looking at this Inflation Reduction Act, what do you think is going to be the impact on the economy? Because everywhere I'm going in Tennessee, that is question number one.
Hi, Marsha. Great to be with you, Senator. So good to be with an old friend. And you've been a stalwart in the United States Senate. So thank you so much for your great leadership, especially on these economic issues. You've been a voice of sanity and in an island of insanity in Washington. This bill is despicable. It is going to do great damage to our economy. Marsha, as you know, the Biden Democrats have now voted for They've already voted for $3.2 trillion of new spending in just the last 18 months. And this new bill would bring us close to $4 trillion of new spending. Senator, that is more money, almost as much money adjusted for inflation as it cost America to win World War II. That's how much these crazy people in Washington are spending. And thank you. I think you've voted no on every one of those spending bills, which is great. We should be cutting government spending now, not raising spending. I think that let me say something about inflation, because that new number just came out this morning, Senator, about an hour ago. And that number is 8.5%. And the White House is cheering. Yay! The inflation rate's coming down 8.5%. I mean, how can you cheer about 8.5% inflation when you've got wages rising at 5% and inflation rising at 8.5%? What that means, as you know, every single month that Joe Biden has been president, Americans are getting poorer. Their incomes are not keeping pace with inflation. We estimate at the Heritage Foundation that in the last 14 months, the average family, are you ready for this, Senator, has lost $4,000 in purchasing power. If you're talking about a middle-income family that makes $75,000, maybe $80,000 a year, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and people are feeling it when they fill up the car, when they try to fill up the grocery cart. And I was in the grocery store on yesterday morning, and I had so many people come up to me and stop me because they were going, look at this. There's not much product on the shelves, and look at these prices. And people are just so shocked every time they go in the grocery store and they walk out with 2 bags of groceries and they've spent $60 and there's nothing in there that is meat or steaks or pork chops or, a pound of bacon. It is just basic necessities, and people are stunned with this, Stephen. Let me ask you this. The other question they're asking us a lot is about the IRS agents, the 87,000 new IRS agents, the more than doubling of the IRS. And what do you think? Because people in Tennessee think they're coming after me. They are going to be auditing my business. They're going to be auditing me because I have a side business. They're going to be auditing me because I'm a small business manufacturer. Talk to our audience about the 87,000 IRS agents.
Let me just say one quick thing about that inflation that you were just talking about, because, we did get a slight improvement in the month of July. And one of the reasons that the inflation numbers came down a bit was because of lower gas prices. But Senator, do you know why gas prices are falling? because Americans are driving less. They can't afford, so people can't take their summer vacations this year. They can't drive to the mountains. They can't drive to the beaches because it's too expensive. So yeah, inflation is coming down because people can't afford all these high prices. That's why it's not a good reason that inflation is coming down. So I get annoyed by this argument that somehow they deserve some credit for this. If we got back to the normal driving patterns, you're going to see that price of gas spike right back up. I hate to say that. Now, I am so angry. I'm angry as a hornet about these 87,000 new IRS agents. Let me just tell you a quick personal story. As you know, I was tapped by President Trump to be on the Federal Reserve Board. And the reason I had to withdraw from that was because I had a tax lien of $40,000. And if you have a tax lien, you can't be appointed to a federal position. Well, my wife and I, Senator, had been fighting this with the IRS for 3 years because we believed that the IRS owed us money, that we didn't owe the IRS money. Well, we took it to our tax attorney, and he said, I've looked through your records. He said, you are in the right here. The IRS owes you money. But he said to us, I'm not making this up, Senator. He said, you should just pay it because it's going to cost you more money to challenge the IRS in court than to just pay this money. So we went ahead and paid it, by the way. And then 2 months after I had to withdraw from the Federal Reserve Board, we get a letter from the IRS saying, whoops, you're right. We made a mistake. We owe you money. And the reason I tell that story is the way the IRS operates is through intimidation. They're not going to go with these 87,000 new IRS agents. They're not going to go after Warren Buffett. They're not going to go after Bill Gates or General Electric or General Motors or Google. They have armies of lawyers and accountants. They are going to go after the person who makes between, say, $75,000 and $150,000, and they're going to go after those people because we are defenseless. We can't defend ourselves against this army of people. One other quick thing. I hope you could do something about this or do maybe an investigation, Senator. The IRS spends millions of dollars on ammunition and guns. Somebody's got to explain to me, why does the IRS have to be armed? Or then they do their audits, or they come in with guns?
Well, and this is a question that we have too. Why are they stockpiling ammunition?
Exactly.
And all of these federal agencies, why are they doing that? Why are they weaponizing these agencies against working taxpayers? And your government should be the protection of your individual rights. Your government should not be there to take away those rights and to make life harder. And this administration, every policy that they seem to make, every step they take makes life harder for families. And
I've got to tell you, Senator, if I may, having worked in the Trump administration, this is so un-American what is happening today. They have weaponized the Justice Department. They have weaponized the FBI. Now they're going to weaponize the IRS. I'm worried. You've seen, everybody saw the outrageous raid against what happened to Donald Trump a couple of days ago. Those are intimidation tactics. Those are the kind of tactics you use for political purpose. This is all political, and I'm worried. You should be worried too, Senator. They are coming. We saw what happened with Lois Lerner at the IRS. For those who don't know who she is, she was one of the chief enforcement people under Barack Obama, and she went after Tea Party groups, conservative groups, taxpayer groups, anyone who opposed the Obama agenda. They weaponized the IRS. I guarantee you, Senator, that's exactly what Joe Biden is going to do. If you have a conservative voice, as you do and I do, they're coming after us.
Well, there is no doubt about that. And this is what they're going to use, those 87,000 IRS agents. Now, it's really interesting that they are going after that number when you look at the fact that the military is 30,000 recruits short, our border patrol is short. There are areas that desperately need that have been told there wasn't money. Let me ask you this. How do you think we've gotten to this point? Things were good for people. They had more money at the end of their month than they had month at the end of their money. When Donald Trump was president, they had a little left over. They had some of the niceties of life, and now they're struggling to make ends meet and going back to putting things on credit cards, just hoping that they're going to get a break and can catch back up. So how in the world did we get to this, and how are we going to get ourselves out of it?
Yeah, it's heartbreaking, really, because I was very proud of what we did under Trump. I was one of his economic advisors with Larry Kudlow and Art Laffer and a guy there with you in Nashville, Tennessee, and we did the deregulations. We did the tax cut, which you provided the key vote to get that through. Thank you. We did we got tough on China, and we produced American energy. That was one of the strategies from the beginning, to make America energy dominant. And we got to that point. You know this, your constituents know this. Under Donald Trump, for the first time in my lifetime, we were actually exporting oil and gas, not having to import it. And what breaks my heart is how I said this during the election of 2020. I said, if Joe Biden wins this election, the biggest winners will be China and Russia. And they are the biggest winners of this, because we are dismantling American energy. We are raising taxes again. And incidentally, in this bill, this awful bill that they have the chutzpah to call an Inflation Reduction Act, it kills our coal industry. It kills our manufacturing industry. It kills our steel industry. Gee, I thought we were going to try to bring those jobs back to the United States. Now they're going to go back to Mexico and China and these other countries. So we were booming. And I have to say this, I honestly believe that if Donald Trump were still president today, you and I wouldn't be talking about 8% in the 9% inflation. We wouldn't be talking about America being in a recession. The U.S. economy would be booming.
You're right about that. I totally agree with you. And I think that's why people are saying the next president has to be a Republican, and they have to focus on regulatory reform and government reform, and get some of these regulations and some of this government overreach off the book. Well, thank you for joining us today, and our audience can keep up with you at Stephen Moore. And I know they're going to want to, and of course they're going to see you as a commentator on the news and giving economic advice and perspective. And our audience, always, you can find me online at Marsha Blackburn.
Well, thank you, Senator. Thank you for what you do for our country, and thank you for what you do for the great state of Tennessee. Everybody I know, by the way, is moving to Tennessee, either Nashville or Knoxville or Chattanooga. It's amazing what's happening in that great state, because you don't have an income tax.
That's it. No state income tax. That was a hard battle. Thank you so much. And thank you to the audience for joining us.